All right, guys, I've got Andy here from the UK, one of our Divi Engine All Access Pass holders, and he's here to share a little bit about his business. We want to hear from Andy about himself, what his business is, how he started it, and hear about all of the success he's achieved. So Andy, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I know people are going to be learning a lot from you today.
Thanks for having me, Robbie, and asking me to give a little bit of an insight to my business and the products that I've used to get me to where I am. And obviously, the Divi Engine, which has been instrumental, especially with some of the recent projects that I've had to do. So, yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me.
No, excellent, man. No, we're very excited to hear about how you got into the web development game. Was that always something that you were doing? How did you find Divi, and how did you find Divi Engine?
It takes me back quite a while, actually. So, back in 2008, 2009, a couple of years prior to that, I just read a book by, I don't know if you know a guy called Tim Ferriss. That was instrumental in getting me to sort of think about a different way of doing things. At the time, I was working full-time, and my role at the time was involved in local patrols around the area. Essentially, got the earpods in, and started listening to audiobooks. And one of those audiobooks was the 4 Hour Workweek. So it got me to think about essentially just creating a passive income stream, really. I'd always been brought up with tech, and I'd loved tech. I used to build and repair PCs and things like that. So I was always into that side of things, and I loved the phones and computers and things like that. That book sort of promoted me to try and think of something online that I could create and build. So at the time, I know WordPress was around there, but just sort of skipping back a little bit in terms of how I actually got into web design, because I was into these techie things. I don't know if you remember Adobe Dreamweaver.
Yeah, I don't think that Gen Zers will know anything about it, but definitely guys like you and myself definitely got into the Dreamweaver game.
Yeah. So I'm a designer. I'm not a coder, even though I understand the code elements of things, which is one of the reasons why I use the Divi Machine plugins. So I'm not a coder. So back then, I have to find a way of building a website myself without using any code. So at the time, Adobe Dreamweaver was around. And what you could do then, you could literally just go view page source, copy all the source code of a website that was already built, throw it in Dreamweaver, and then just change the image extensions, and things like that, and the text. And that's essentially how I built my first website. And it was a friend of mine's car business called CW Autos. And it was literally a car listings business. They repaired cars and things like that. So yeah, that was my first thing. But then I'm like, this is extremely laborious, is this? And I need to have some more creative flair. I began to explore WordPress a lot more and what was available to me, and then realized, WordPress and themes were the way to go. So first set up a business called Protein Supermarket, which was an affiliate marketing website originally. About sports nutrition products and things like that.
That's
so
Ferriss right there.
Yes, exactly. So that was the method. That's why I mentioned Tim Ferriss, because that methodology got me to think of how can I actually build something online. And at the time, family coming along, 2 kids, really, really busy. I had to do this part-time, and I didn't have any investment money whatsoever. So essentially that was an affiliate marketing site. So the early days of Google AdSense was put on there, and affiliate window, I think as it was called at the time, with generating the affiliate links. So it started from there really. And there were a few other online projects that I explored and went with, but things started to progress. That was sort of the initial starts of my business really. And then people asked me to start building websites for them. And I just got more and more familiar with using themes originally from your online marketplaces and things like that. So spent a few years doing it.
No, like Theme Forest. I know in my early days, that's why I formed a lot of my ideas and themes that I would use.
Yeah, Theme Forest was definitely a starting place for me to create more impressive websites. So I had to be really resourceful in how I was doing things, and found WordPress really, really interesting. And I realized that I could create. So I did A-level art at school. So I have got a creative mind. And but he's saying, with not knowing any coding, I wanted to find the resources that give me that Pareto's principle, which Tim Ferriss talks about, that 20% in or 80% output.
Yeah.
So what tools can I use to get 80% of the product done, where, you know, I don't have to spend years and years doing lots of different coding and things like that. So I'd seen Elegant Themes a few years afterwards, after I'd started exploring and started building websites for people and more online projects myself. And then, as you say, you start to learn more about the fundamentals of WordPress, the management, the things that go wrong, migrating websites, all the things that come with, you know, it's not just as easy as just building a website, as you know. There's lots of things that can go wrong. So I always say the key to a good web designer and web manager is being able to do things when things go wrong, you know. I remember when Elegant Themes was first putting their themes out there, because they were sort of an option alongside your themed forest type things.
That's it.
Then when they moved to the Divi plugin, and then that could be built in, and then as that ecosystem started to explore, the creativity and what I realized is that I could start then pushing bespoke websites using the tools that I actually had access to. Yeah, so then I left my current employment in 2018, even though I'd been building, I was sort of running two things. Whilst my family was growing up, I needed the security of the full-time job while sort of pushing and building, websites. So Divi was instrumental in being able to take that next step forward for me, and having full control and the design flexibility that you need when people are coming to you with certain design ideas, and you need to realize their online vision.
Yeah, I find it so interesting because, you know, Divi is such a visual, you know, thing that speaks to designers, because you drag it onto the page, you pull the sliders, you select the colors and the fonts and stuff like that. And the fact that you can save to like the Divi library. So if you find something that works really nice, save it to the library, you reuse it in projects and stuff like that. And it's really, really good for that, right?
It saves so much time, does that, you know. And even the wireframes, I mean, quite often I use the wireframes that are available on Divi purely just to save me time, because the desktop version's already there, the tablet version's there, and the mobile version's there. So you can go to a client with that sort of base format, and if they like it, then you're just switching things around and changing colors. And then what I like is you can really just start chopping everything up and creating your own ecosystem and own design layouts based on that initial frame. Which I find really, really useful. So, and again, with the Divi Cloud and being able to save things into the cloud, there's so much scope and options. So I'm currently I manage and build websites for a group called the Leeds Women's Aid Group, quite a big organisation in the UK and it's a women's charity, and they help women who are subject to domestic violence and things like that. Just working on their new website. One page I'm working on at the moment is quite a long timeline. Now I realised that I built one of these for one of the other sites. So I literally just jumped into that site, saved it to the Divi library, opened it up, and then loaded it into the new page. And then I've got that wireframe there, that starting point, which I know everything's already going to respond, and it saves me so much time to be able to relay things like that.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, man. And that's really one of the features I really use a lot as well myself. And then even with those global presets that they brought out, and Divi just keeps building on top of this really awesome design tool that they've built. Some of the limitations of the Divi theme, of course, is, you know, when you come to a little bit more dynamic data, or you want to create your own custom loops or different blog layouts and stuff like that. And I know that you mentioned that you use Divi Machine quite a bit. And Divi Machine, how has that helped you with more complex projects and kind of scaling those limitations of the Divi theme?
Yeah, so you're right there. This particular limitation was the main reason why I started searching for a plugin that could essentially create a directory. The website that I'm talking about is one of the Leeds Women's Aid Group websites, which is the Women and Girls Alliance Leeds. And they had an existing directory. And lots of people have been involved with this particular website, different designers, and everybody had different access. And the whole ecosystem, the whole foundation of the website would just break in terms of no updates being done, licenses being to other people, and various things like that. So obviously with me managing their websites, they came to me and said, listen, what can we do? First and foremost for me is always looking at, can I replicate that structure of that website and bring all the data over there? Sometimes there's the difficulties in moving data over, and you've got plugins or import plugins and various things like that we can use to bring big data over, which is what I used to do with the sports nutrition websites that I used to have, using the import feeds and things. I'd worked with some directories before, but for when I was subcontracting to a friend of mine, that was using Brilliant directories. And this project was only maybe 6 or 7 months ago. So again, I had to overcome the problem of how can I implement a directory on WordPress. So there's lots of different solutions out there, but there wasn't a solution that I could manipulate the design. Everything was stuck. And that was my pain point, really. Jumped onto, I can't remember if it was Divi Marketplace or some, I think it might have been a Google search where I found you guys. And then I literally must have been searching for quite a while. And then all of a sudden I came across you guys. And then all of a sudden I'm like, this is brilliant. This plugin, so it was the Divi machine part of the All Access, which I was really keen to explore. And as I did that, it was like, now I can create the directory. I can not only try and create the directory, but I can then put that in different places on the website. I can manipulate the design, and it's a layout and a user interface that I know really well because it's essentially built around the Divi interface.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an absolute godsend for me. It was brilliant. It was really good.
Divi Machine is one of those plugins that is very complex to learn and even more complex to master, just because there's so much you can do with it, right? Like I feel like you need a really good grasp of ACF, advanced custom fields, and how that enhances a stock Divi website, and then getting into making your own custom post types for all the different use cases. And then Divi Machine is kind of like the makeup you put on it, right? So you can change the layouts, you can build different types of archive pages and all that fun stuff.
So with the original website, when I looked in the back end, I tried to understand what was going on, and I'd seen some custom fields, but a lot of it was hard coded in using the web hooks and things like that, which I don't totally understand. So like for having a plugin that does all that work, and you can create all these custom fields and services and taxonomies and everything, which is brilliant. So I'm not saying that plugin for me was instrumental in being able to create what I needed to create, but I needed some learning as well. So that was the other aspect, is that I got the course with it as well.
Oh, right. Yeah. Divi Classified.
The online course. Was that yourself? Or?
That was me. Yeah. No, I presented that. Yeah.
It
might be a little skinnier back then.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But yeah, so that course for me was instrumental. It really, because even though I understood, it also saved me a lot of time just watching that video, because I could just go through the process as you went through. And one of the other considerations as well was also they needed to submit listings through that. And when I realized that you can create the taxonomies, and obviously using the advanced custom field, then we can these using the different modules that are available through Divi Machine into different pages, and it essentially all pushes into the back end and then can be pushed out to the admin side, so they get a chance to approve the actual ad listing before it goes on. And when it approves, it then goes into its relevant category. It's not the system that I had on there needed to be really basic, and I asked the client, I said, how much filtering do you actually need on here, or how much do you want to keep it similar? So they wanted to keep it as similar as possible, just so it was familiar with the customers that were coming to the website. So it just needed to do what I needed it to do. And then I had the support from you guys, and I reached out a few times to the support team. They're absolutely fantastic in pointing me in the right direction and doing things for me, so it was brilliant.
That's great to hear. Yeah, no, we pride ourselves on the support process, just because we know that retaining our customers is probably the most important part. And, we understand these plugins can be very complex at times and hard to understand and hard to wrap your head around. But there's that moment you get to where you just click, and then you're like, okay, now I know how this thing works. And then you start thinking about how you're going to implement it. But support is an essential part of that. Definitely a shout out to the support guys and people like you that utilize the support team. Yeah. No, definitely. No, that's great to hear, man. And tell me a little bit, firstly, what is your agency's name?
So, FuzzUK, that's FuzzUK. Fuzz is actually my nickname. I was in a professional band when I was a teenager. For 10 years, I was a musician. So, I used to do all the creative stuff for that and everything. That's where the creative side came from. Yeah, but I've been known as Fuzz. So, I've had a few different businesses through the time, Fuzzbox Management, Fuzzbox Media, which have all done sort of different things around these creative elements and online marketplaces and various things like that. I think years ago, I still own the domain WeBuyAnyInstrument.com, and one of the ideas was to, because a friend of mine, he sold it now, I believe, but he owned WeBuyAnyBike.com. And he always used to come to me with really inspirational book offerings and things like that. So the idea was, I essentially built an online classified ads directory with a theme, I think it was at the time, and it was called Use Your Gear. And the idea was to bringing new instruments in through WeBuyAnyInstrument.com and then resell them through musogear.co.uk. And it was,
what instrument did you play, Andy? I need to know. Were you the lead singer? What was the deal there?
So I was a keyboard player, and so I used to gig a vintage Hammond organ, which the guys didn't particularly like much because these organs weigh around, I don't know, 350, 400 pounds, lugging them around the country. So yeah, there's been plenty of ideas and things through the years that I've explored. But again, one thing that it's taught me is all the things that can go wrong sometimes with websites, but also to be resourceful as well. You know, in terms there is plenty of resources and tools and things like that. And you shouldn't be scared of going out and learning new things no matter how old you are and what stage you are in your career. So
that's it, Andy. I so much agree with you there. We learn through the mistakes and the strife that we have in this business, any business really in life. You can take it as, oh, woe is me, I'm having this problem, or you can be proactive, go after that problem and solve it. So that's really excellent advice, man. I know people will benefit from that. So are there like specific types of clients that you normally go for, Andy? Is there like a niche that you find that you do really well in?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question, is that? And something I've been thinking about recently, because we've obviously got the introduction of AI. So, you can ask, what's the future of web design? And obviously with the Divi platform introducing their AI system, there's some really cool features and things like that. In terms of my marketplace, so originally involved around martial arts websites and other business. I'm just going through my head now, is that I have quite a varied client base. One thing that I don't know if this comes across, but customer service is paramount, so I really appreciate great customer service. So I'll always take the time to be on the telephone with my clients, have a chat with them, speak about what they want. And I think that's really important. I think a lot of that's been forgotten about now, especially with everything that can be done online. The difficulty I have with my business is that, you get a lot of people selling you a service which is very cheap. Websites can be built cheaply, but websites are all more than about websites. There's SEO, there's marketing, there's things that can go wrong, there's support, there's all your updates, there's everything like that. I also like to include sort of business advice and things like that with my clients and mindset, having the right mindset and things like that. So in answer to your question, I've got a coach website, a martial arts website. I've got the websites for the Leeds Women's Aid, got some musicians on there, quite a few beauticians, lots of different things really. And what I like about that is that they all want different things. Yeah. Some websites want external things for bookings, some want online booking things, some people want directories. Yeah. Some people just one-page website. It's very varied. My business category is probably SMEs, really, with 1 to 10 employees. Yeah, that's great. That's really, those are the clients you retain quite easily because, I don't know, part of your business model, is that having a maintenance plan where you give them ongoing support? Yes. Hey guys, so we didn't mention this in the interview, but Andy has been so awesome to offer anybody that wants some web maintenance 25% off of his maintenance packages. All you got to do is mention this interview when making the order or inquiring about the package. So if you're looking for a customer service focused web guy, Andy is your guy. So check him out, Andy the Fuzz at FuzzUK. Go and check him out. He's awesome. So I essentially have, and again, it's one of my, so if anybody who's out there is wanting any maintenance service, there's lots of different packages that you can have with maintenance packages. But essentially my packages come with what I class as a web assurance guarantee, is that I'll manage the backups, I'll manage the update plugins and everything like that. I'll make sure that if it's a web refresh, it'll be done on Divi. So I know that website's squeaky clean. I mean, I don't know if you come across this, but the amount of clients and people who do not have their website backed up is real. So guys, if anybody's watching, if you've not got your website backed up, make sure it gets backed up. You can either come see me, you can see the guys at Divi Machine, whatever it is, just make sure it's backed up. Because some of the horror stories that I've had where I've offered the web maintenance service and they've not taken it. And then next year, the website goes down and they're like, well, what do I do? Well, you're going to have a website built. really? And it's like, well, yeah, that's depending on your hosting package and various things like that. But ultimately, yeah, my web assurance service, web maintenance packages come with a web assurance guarantee in the fact that if anything goes really badly wrong and the website gets hacked, obviously there's a lot more to it. There's the security,
course, yeah.
there's the spam and all that sort of thing. But it essentially comes with a web assurance guarantee. So if I can't reinstall that back up, I'll essentially build them a new website for free.
No, that's amazing. No, I think that is a very good value add. And I think there's a lot of people that build sites that don't do the maintenance package as part of their business model, which I think is two-pronged. It's a missed opportunity to get recurring revenue for your business, of course, but it's also that security for the client, like you just said, that they know that you're taking care of making sure that it's updated, that there's no vulnerabilities on the site, that it's backed up. And then, and part of your package is that business advice. So you're like a business consultant also, because you're out there. And there's so many people out there that need websites or have websites, but they're not technically as capable as you might be, or as a lot of people out there. And then they get into trouble because they think that their son or their uncle, somebody's going to come and help them out with this website stuff. And I have had it so many times when people come crying and said that, well, you didn't tell me this or that. No, you need that maintenance package because you need the people that know what's going on take care of it. So I think that's very smart that you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very big on personal development, and across the years, obviously talking about the Tim Ferriss book and do a lot of reading and things like that. I think this day and age, there will be lots of tools and resources where people will do a lot for themselves, which is great. But for me, it's adding value as anything with a service. You've got to add value all the time. So my clients can just pick the phone up and have a chat to me. So I will talk about all sorts of things, and quite often we'll end up talking about things that maybe have been going on in the life and business and mindset and things like that. So it's about building relationships, and I think we should build those relationships that look after your business, essentially.
Absolutely. That's it, man. Like there's many people that misconstrued that a little bit, and they're like, well, now I just need to maintain, I need to keep them as a client. No, it's if you're doing the right thing, you are 100% building a relationship with that person. That is really good that you mentioned that. Now, before we go, I'm going to start winding down here. I do need to ask you about that lamp in the back of that ceiling light that you have, because that's creativity for me. That's very awesome. I love that.
That's actually getting changed. You can't see down below him. This is his bedroom. There's no bed in here at the moment. We've ordered a new bed, but we're just going to be doing. I'll tell me partner, you picked that out and you liked that. She'll like that.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's very cool, man. Okay, so before we go, it's paper. Wow. That's very awesome. I like that. It's so cool. Cool, man. Well, listen, is there anything else you want to tell the people out there about yourself, about your business, about Divi, or anything before we sign off here?
Just, guys, if you're thinking about starting a business up, a web business, there's loads of resources out there. Check out all the guys, plugins and everything at Divi Engine. Learn more about Divi and WordPress, and then everything that's going on at the Divi Engine site. And the products they offer all sort of makes sense. There's so many resources out there. If you're thinking about doing something, having an idea, just take that step forward and do it. There's so many people who sit at home thinking about stuff. And if you come against a problem, again, we didn't have Google, we didn't have search things when we had people to talk to. And now we've got all these resources, and the younger guys are living in this, and girls are living in this generation where they expect everything done for them. And, there's so much resources out there. We just need to be resourceful about it. So you can find me at FuzzUK.com, Facebook/FuzzUK. I tend to sort of hang around sort of online just on my website, really, because I'm obviously busy facilitating.
Always working.
So check me out, give me a call.
That's awesome, man. And the one thing I want to sign off on that note is what you said. If you're thinking about doing it, stop thinking about doing it and do it. Stop sitting around thinking about it, because 6 months down the line, you're going to say, that was my idea. And you will, because you didn't do it. So,
and we've all been there. I guess you have been as well, Robbie. We've all had that idea. We've all had that thought. And the next minute, somebody else is doing it. But the thing is, there's no new ideas. Ideas are getting mixed, like with TikTok and everything like that.
Yeah.
So even if you think it's really wacky and wild, just go for it. Yeah. And the worst that can happen is that you'll learn something.
That's it.
And every day it's learning. It's about learning new different things. So
that's it, man. So with that, Andy, I thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate it. I know the people out there are going to appreciate this. Definitely thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. And I really, really, again, appreciate you being a Divi Engine customer.
Great stuff. Thanks for having me, and thanks for creating some awesome products. Brilliant.
I'll shout out to the devs on that one. Thank you so much, man. All right, Andy. Cheers.
Cheers.